Welcome back. Today, let's explore how minimalism can redefine our spaces and our lives. I'm sharing 20 items I no longer keep, things that were once useful but no longer add real value to my day-to-day life. It's not about strict rules. It's about choosing what truly brings us joy and letting go of the rest. From kitchenware to decor, each decision has made my home feel lighter and more intentional. Minimalism doesn't look the same for everyone, so share in the comments, what have you given up to simplify your life? Let's find out. First, the small but impactful change I made was choosing not to use the dryer function on my washing machine. While it's convenient, I prefer to hang my clothes to dry. This choice may seem small, but it actually saves energy, reduces costs, and keeps my clothes in better condition over time. Air drying has become a simple habit that fits into my minimalist approach, focusing on what really benefits my daily life without adding cost or wear and tear. Minimalism isn't about strict rules. It's about thoughtful choices that make life easier and more intentional. Replacing a convenience like a dryer with a habit like air drying is just one example of how small changes can add up. If you find a similar change that simplifies your routine, I'd love to hear it. Let's inspire each other to create lighter, more purposeful spaces. Second, something I don't own much of is jewelry. About a year ago, I had a collection of necklaces, rings, and bracelets that I thought I would wear regularly. But over time, I found myself going back to simple, timeless pieces. As for the rest of my jewelry, I didn't wear it, and it cluttered up my space. Now, I stick to a few minimalist pieces that work for every occasion, like a simple pair of earrings or a classic necklace. If you're thinking about adding new pieces to your collection, consider whether they'll actually become a part of your everyday life or if they're just appealing at the moment. Third, is not owning a shoe collection, and this can help you be minimalist and frugal. Right now, I have a pair of comfortable sneakers that are great for everyday errands and a pair of classic flats that can transition from work to a night out. They are easy to style and comfortable, plus there is no need to worry about which pair to wear today. Just slip them on and go, which is a huge time saver. Try it out. It's amazing how a little change can lead to a more time and money-saving daily routine. Fourth, something you don't own is separate dinnerware for the holidays, so choose a collection and maintain it instead of separate sets for each holiday and occasion. I usually choose a nice, neutral set that transitions easily from casual to festive. I find that every meal becomes special, whether it's a quick weeknight dinner or a get-together with friends. I no longer worry about storing multiple sets of dinnerware. Instead, I focus on enjoying good food and creating memories. Fifth, I used to depend on an electric meat grinder to prepare meals. It was my go-to tool for making burgers, meatballs, and sauces, as it seemed the easiest way to get the right texture. About a year ago, it broke, but I didn't have the money to buy a new one, so I started using a sharp knife instead, chopping by hand. At first, I thought it would take too long, but I quickly discovered that chopping by hand gave me more control over the texture and size of the meat. It took a little longer, but it was also fun to cook. I found that I could get better flavor by cutting the meat into different sizes, which added more flavor to the dishes I was making. Sixth, the Smartwatch. I used to rely on it for fitness tracking to keep up with my activity goals because it's so full of cool features. It tracks everything: my sleep habits, my steps, and my daily workouts. Having those numbers gives me a sense of accomplishment, and I find myself checking it constantly throughout the day. But when it finally stopped working, I decided to leave it alone for a while, rather than rush to replace it. I started paying more attention to how I actually felt, whether I was well rested, energized, or needed more movement throughout the day. Without the tracker, I felt freer and more connected to my routine. Now, I rely on how my body feels instead of the numbers, and it's refreshing. Seventh, it's an expensive coffee machine. I think when I have it, my mornings will be happier, and I think expensive machine coffee will also taste better. But over time, I realized that I don't need fancy equipment to enjoy a great cup of coffee. And accordingly, I found myself drinking coffee very rarely, and that expensive coffee maker was abandoned. I usually drink lemon water in the morning because it is good for my health, and I have been drinking it for a long time. So I recommend you to buy something that is really useful for your life, not like me who bought it and then didn't use it. Eighth, the item I don't own is a TV in the bedroom, since I already have a TV in the living room, so adding another one to the bedroom seems unnecessary. At first, I thought it might be nice to have a TV there to relax at night, but I soon realized that we hardly need it. Instead of watching something before bed, I find that having a screen-free space helps me relax more deeply. The TV in the living room meets all my entertainment needs, and having the bedroom as a screen-free zone helps the bedroom feel peaceful. Now, when it's time to relax, I usually pick up a book or enjoy the quiet, which helps me sleep better. 9. This is one of those weird things that just happened. It wasn't a conscious or deliberate decision. A while ago, my computer mouse broke and I could only work without it. I was so busy that I didn't have time to fix it or buy a new one. And after a while, I didn't need it, and I got used to working without it. Now, when I'm out and about or when I don't have a desk to put the mouse on, I can still use my laptop to work normally without depending on the mouse anymore. Number 10. The next thing I don't own is a massage chair. These certainly seem like an appealing addition to any home, offering the promise of relaxation and comfort after a long day. However, I've come to realize that they're not as necessary as they seem. While they can be comfortable, they also take up a lot of space, often becoming more of a decorative piece than a functional piece of furniture. I've found that instead of relying on a massage chair for relaxation, I can achieve the same benefits through regular physical activity. Whether it's a brisk walk, going to the gym, or even doing yoga at home, these activities not only keep my body healthy, but also help relieve stress and tension. Since staying active is a priority for me, I don't feel the need to let a massage chair take up valuable space in my living room. 11th, a wall clock is something that is missing from my home. Instead, I rely on my smartphone for all my time management needs. It's amazing how multifunctional these little devices have become. They not only act as an alarm clock, but they also remind me of appointments, manage my tasks, and even help me stay on schedule throughout the day. Many people might think that relying solely on my phone could lead to some chaos, but I've found that it actually simplifies my life. 12th, a hallway shoe rack is something I don't own. Instead, I use a simple rug so I can put my shoes on when I get home. This keeps the area looking neat while still allowing me to easily put my shoes on and off. It also makes it easy for guests to find a place to put their shoes without cluttering up the space. Third, I don't use bar soap in my bathroom. Instead, I have my own shower gel and hand soap so I don't feel the need for bar soap. 14th, since a year ago, I have stopped using hair products such as styling gel, styling spray, and mousse. I used to use them regularly, and my hair was very damaged, so since then, I started to condition my hair, and I feel that without hair products, there are other beauty products for hair, and it is ye good. 15th, I don't use an ice cream maker at home. I love ice cream, but I mostly eat it out with friends and rarely make it at home. Also, I feel like it takes up a lot of space in my kitchen and makes it messy. 16th, something I no longer own is DVDs. I remember when DVD players were pretty much a staple in every home, including mine. But honestly, it's been years since I even thought about needing one. Streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus have completely replaced DVDs for me, and I've never looked back. The convenience of having endless options without having to worry about physical discs really makes sense. I used to have stacks of DVDs, taking up space and gathering dust. Now, I just pick up the remote, turn on my smart TV, and I have instant access to everything. It's not just about having less stuff, it's about having the right stuff. The DVD player didn't add any value to my life. It just took up space. It wasn't a DVD player to me anymore, and getting rid of it just felt right. 17th, I used to think that there were many kinds of toys and games that would entertain my family. But over time, I realized that all those extra games that we rarely used were just taking up space and adding to the clutter. So I decided to keep only the games that really brought us joy, the ones we played over and over again during family game nights. Now, our collection is small but meaningful. Each game we have is filled with memories, laughter, and bonding. Less really has become more when it comes to our family time. 18th, I don't own too many cars. I used to think that owning multiple cars was a sign of success, but after dealing with the hassle of maintenance, insurance, and storage, I realized that it was more of a burden than a benefit. Now, I only own one car, and that's all I need. This single reliable car meets my daily needs, and by simplifying, I've freed up space, time, and money. It's amazing how much freedom and focus a thoughtful choice can bring to everyday life. 19th, I don't own many paper books. Before, I filled them with paper books, each one taking up space and gathering dust. While I loved the feel of a book in my hands, I began to realize that most of them just sat there, rarely touched after the first reading. So I decided to switch to ebooks and audiobooks. Now, instead of a cramped bookshelf, I have a library that fits in my pocket. I can carry thousands of titles with me wherever I go, immerse myself in any genre at any time, and free up a lot of space in my home. The convenience, space savings, and versatility of digital reading made the change well worth it, combining my love of books with a lifestyle that values simplicity and ease. 20. I used to collect food and drink cards or other vouchers to redeem for free without spending money. But as they piled up in my wallet and drawers, I began to realize that they were just taking up space and creating unnecessary clutter. Most of these cards I never even looked at twice. Eventually, I decided to sort through them and only keep the ones I actually used regularly. 21st, I don't own a game console. Despite my interest in gaming, I skipped buying a game console and enjoy simple games on my phone or computer. 22nd, I no longer own a printer. Some time ago, I considered buying a printer purely for convenience, thinking it would save me time and effort when I needed to print out the occasional document. But after buying it, I realized that I rarely needed to print documents. Instead of having a bulky machine taking up space and collecting dust, I decided that whenever I needed to print something, I would just use a local print shop or office service. 23. I love scents, and I long for a perfume collection. But I find that owning dozens of fragrances is more overwhelming than fun. Instead of feeling like I have endless options, I often feel like I have to choose. Now, I stick to one or two signature scents that I really love and wear every day. 24. There was a time when I felt like I wanted to buy every new phone accessory that came along, selfie lights, fancy cases, and all sorts of gadgets that promised to enhance my experience. But over time, I realized that these extras didn't actually add much value. They just cluttered up my space and drained my wallet, not to mention weighed down my phone. Now, I focus on keeping my phone set up as simple and functional as possible. No extra accessories, no over-the-top cases, just a minimal protective case and the basics I really need. This approach not only saves me money, but also keeps my phone light and handy, ready for whatever I actually need it to do. Ditching the unnecessary accessories has been a refreshing change, reminding me that sometimes simplicity is all you need to get things working. Item number 25. I realized that installing multiple lights in the living room was not as necessary as I had thought. At first, I envisioned my space being filled with a variety of light sources, each serving a different purpose: reading, decorative, and task lighting. I even considered buying stylish floor lamps and table lamps to create a cozy atmosphere. However, after a while, I found that the overhead chandelier provided enough light for our needs. Although there was a corner of the room that was a little dark at times, especially in the evenings, I found that I could get by without adding more lights. Instead of cluttering the space with more lights, I simply adjusted the seating or used soft blankets to create a cozy reading nook. Taking this minimalist approach allowed me to maintain the airy feel of the room while still enjoying the warmth and comfort of home without adding unnecessary furniture. This has taught me that sometimes less really is more, and a well-placed light fixture can often get the job done perfectly. The 26th item I don't own is a wall calendar. I remember hanging a new one every January, eager to get a clear picture of the year ahead. But as the months went by, I found that it quickly became outdated, with events constantly changing and last-minute changes that a paper calendar couldn't keep up with. I would rely on my phone for reminders and updates anyway, so the calendar became more of a decoration than a practical tool. I realized that my phone and laptop were much more convenient and compact for keeping track of dates and setting reminders. I didn't need to change my calendar every month, just opening my phone, and my house was tidier with less stuff. Next, item 27th is magazines. I used to love sitting down to read a magazine or flipping through the morning paper with a cup of coffee. It felt like part of the perfect morning routine. But honestly, as life got busier, those magazines and papers started piling up, unread. I'd glance at them occasionally, but most of the time they just became clutter. Every time I tried to catch up, I felt overwhelmed, like a pile of to-dos was waiting for me. I switched to reading news and articles on my phone or laptop, which turned out to be much more practical. Now I can stay up to date on the go without the clutter at home. Number 28. Camping gear always seems like an appealing purchase. Having a complete kit makes me feel like I'm ready for an adventure. But the reality is that I don't use it as much as I think I should. Every time I plan a camping trip, I realize that most of my gear takes up space without adding value to my life. Instead, I think renting gives me access to high-quality gear without the commitment of storage, maintenance, or the cost of buying it outright. The 29th item is a power bank. Instead of buying multiple power banks, I choose one good quality, one that will last a long time and be carried around when needed. Finally, when it comes to decorating my living space, I have started to appreciate the beauty of simplicity. Instead of filling every corner with decorative furniture, I focus on keeping only the items that are truly necessary and useful. Every item in my home has its own purpose, which helps my living space stay airy, spacious, and much easier to maintain. Without the clutter of unnecessary furniture, I can enjoy a clean, quiet, and truly refreshing environment. Thanks for watching. If you find these insights helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more minimalist tips.